Hello, children. Today I am going to revise Geography Chapter 2 Physical Features of India. India has almost all physical features of Earth like mountains, plains, plateau, desert, islands, these things. So formation of these features is related to formation of rocks. So the most volcanoes and earthquakes in the world are also located at a plate margin, but some do occur within the plate. So the movement of these plates have changed the position and the size of the continent over millions of years. So these features occurred by the movement of these plates. So let us see one by one the physical features of India. The first physical feature or physiographical division. The first one is the Himalayan mountains. Himalayas are geologically young and structurally folded mountain. So it stretches over the northern borders of India. They form an arc covering a distance about 2400 kilometer. So the width starts from 400 kilometer in Kashmir, 150 kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. So there are three divisions of Himalayan mountains. Let us see one by one. The first one is a Himadri or Inner Himalayas. Himadri or Inner Himalayas lie in the northernmost range of Himalayas. So the average height of the Himalayas 6,000 meter. So Himalayan peaks also very prominent in this Himadri. Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu. These are the prominent peaks in this Himadri. So the height of the Mount Everest is 8,848 meter. So this Himalaya or snow covered all the year around. So it is composed of granite, and the fold of Great Himalayas is asymmetrical in nature. So let us see the next one. Himachal or Lesser Himalayas, second division of Himalaya. So this range lies to the south of the Himadri and forms the most rugged mountain system. It is composed of highly compressed rocks with height varying from 3,700 to 4,500 meter. And this Himachal also composed of ranges like Pir Panchal, Dhauladhar and Mahabharat. And these are the most important range in Himachal. So famous hill stations are here: Kashmir, Gangra, Kulwali, Nainital, or the famous hill station in Himachal or Lesser Himalayas. The next one, third important Himalayan division is Shivalik range. So this is the outermost range of the Himalayas. The height varying between 900 and 1100 meter. The average width is also 10 to 50 kilometer. So they are composed of coarse sediment brought down by rivers from main Himalayan ranges. So these valleys are covered with thick gravel and aluminium. There are also famous dans, Dehradun, Kotliden and Patliden are famous in the Shivalik range. The next one, Northern Plains. So the Northern Plains formed by three rivers system: the Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. So along with its tributaries. This plain is formed by alluvial soil and it spread over 7 lakh square kilometer. The plains are about 2400 kilometer long, between 240 and 320 kilometer broad. So it is a densely populated area and also fertile soil, adequate water supply, favorable climate also. So this northern plain also divided into 4 regions. Let us see one by one. First one is a Babar. Babar is after descending from the mountain, the river deposits pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometer in width, lying parallel to the slopes of the Shivaliks. So it is known as Babar belt. And next one is a Terai. Terai, the south of the Babar belt, the streams and rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy and marshy region. Third one is Bankar. The largest part of northern plain consists of older alluvium and known as Bangar. So it is a terrace-like features and contain calcareous deposit. Fourth one is a Khadar. The lowest region in the floodplain known as Khadar. Here soil is renewed every year after the flood. So it is also fertile and also best for intensive agriculture. The next one, third one, the Peninsular Plateau. It is a tableland composed of old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rock. It was formed due to breaking up drifting of Gondwana land, that is a old Mars land in India. So it consists of 2 broad divisions, Central Highlands and Deccan Plateaus. Central Highland lying in the north part of the river Narmada and cover most of the Malwa Plateau. So whereas Deccan Plateau, this is a triangular landmass, lies to the south of river Narmada. So the broad base of Satpura range form its north, while Mahadev Hills, Khaimar Hills and Michael range from its eastern extension. So the Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently in the east side. The next one is a Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So the western Ghats and eastern Ghats are the edges of east and west edges of the Deccan Plateau. So the western Ghats are parallel to the western coast. The western Ghats are higher than the eastern Ghats. Sanimudi and Dottebetta are highest peak found here. Then eastern Ghats. So eastern Ghats stretch from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiris in the south. It is a discontinuous and irregular because dissected by the rivers draining the Bay of Bengal. So Nilgiri Hills in Tamil Nadu lie at the junction of the eastern Ghat and western Ghats. The next one is a Deccan Trap. The western part of plateau known as a Deccan Trap. It consists of black soil of volcanic origin. So the rocks are igneous and denuded to form black soil. It is famous for cotton cultivation. Next one, Indian Desert. This lies on the western margin of Aravalli Hills. So it consists of the wave-like sandy plain with various types of sand dunes. It receives nearly 150 mm rainfall annually. So it is a hot region, that is a arid region with low vegetation. So the cushion-shaped sand dunes are called barchans. The next one, the coastal plains. So the peninsula plateau is bordered by narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea west and Bay of Bengal on the east. It consists of three sections. Northern part is a Konkan, central part is a Kannad plain, and southern part is a Malabar coast. So you come to that Bay of Bengal side. Northern part is called Northern Scissor. Southern part is a Coromandel coastal. The next one are the islands. India has two island groups. One is Lakshadweep group. Another one is Andaman and Nicobar Island. Lakshadweep is lie close to the Malabar coast. Kavaratti Island is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. So it covers a small area of 32 square kilometer, Lakshadweep. Next one is Andaman and Nicobar Island. So Andaman are bigger in size. They are numerous and scattered islands. So the Andaman in north side and Nicobar in the south side. So India's active volcano is also found on the barren island. So all the geographical divisions are very important. Himalayas, the northern plains, the peninsula plateau, desert, coastal land and islands are very important in this chapter. Next we will move on to the third chapter, drainage. Okay. So the river system of an area is called a drainage. So when any elevated area such as mountain, upland or some height area that separates two drainage basin is called as a water divide. The next one is a drainage basin. The area drained by a single river system is called as a drainage basin. So in India, we are going to see two drainage systems, that is Himalayas rivers and the peninsular rivers. Himalayas rivers are a perennial, which means they have water throughout the year. So the peninsular rivers are a seasonal one. So let us see one by one. The first one is a Himalayan rivers. So the rivers are also along with the tributaries may called as a river system. That is in Himalayan rivers we are going to see three Indus river system and a Ganga river system, Brahmaputra river system. The first one is the Indus river system. So in the Indus river rises from China near Manasarovar lake. So it flows westwards and enter India in Ladakh district of Jammu and Kashmir. The total length of Indus river system is 2,900 kilometer. So it is the longest rivers of the world. The next one is a Ganga river system. So it starts from Bhagirathi, headwater of Ganga, and joined by the Alaknanda river at Devaprayag to form the Ganga. So the length of the Ganga is also 2,500 kilometer. The next one is the Brahmaputra river. The Brahmaputra rises in Tibet east of Manasarovar lake. It flows eastward side till it reaches the Namachabarma mountain and it takes U-turn and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh. It has different names based upon the region. So these are the important Himalayan rivers. The next one. Peninsular rivers are seasonal rivers. The Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri are famous peninsular rivers. So in which Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna and Kaveri flows eastward side and drain into Bay of Bengal. Tapi and Narmada are the only two rivers which flow west and make. Let us see one by one. First one is the Narmada basin. Narmada rises in the Amarkantak hills of Madhya Pradesh. It flows towards west side. All the tributaries of Narmada are very short to the length. The next one is Tapi. Tapi rises in the Satpura ranges in Betul district in Madhya Pradesh. It flows in a rift valley parallel to the Narmada. It is shorter in length. It covers Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra. Its length is about 724 kilometers. The next one is Godavari. It rises from the western ghats in Nasik district of Maharashtra. It is the longest river, 1,500 kilometers. The next one is a Mahanadi basin. The Mahanadi rises in the highland of Chhattisgarh and flows through Odisha to reach the Bay of Bengal. The next one is the Krishna basin. Krishna river rises from the western ghats near Mahabaleshwar. It flows into the Bay of Bengal. Next one is a Kaveri basin. It rises in the Brahmagiri range of the western ghats and flows into the Bay of Bengal south of Kodalur in Tamil Nadu. The length of river is about 760 kilometers. Amaravati, Bhavani, Hemavati and Kabini are its tributaries. The river Kaveri makes the second biggest waterfall in India, known as Sivasamudram. So these are the important peninsular rivers. Next, lakes. Lakes are very useful to human being in many ways. It attracts tourists every year, and also sporting activities like boating, swimming, water sports happening here. So the lakes are also different types: seasonal lakes and freshwater lake. Seasonal lakes contain water only during the monsoon season, found in inland drainage basin of semi-arid region. For example, Sambar Lake in Rajasthan. And freshwater lake formed when glacier dig out a basin, which is later filled with a snow melt. Most of the freshwater lakes are in the Himalayan region. So the lakes help to regulate the flow of water, the flow of the river during heavy rainfall. It prevents flooding and during the dry season. It helps to maintain an even flow of water. It also used for developing hydel power, and it moderates the climate of the surrounding, maintain the aquatic ecosystem. The role of rivers in the economy. Rivers have played an important role throughout the human history. The water from the river is a basic natural resources essential for various human activities, that is irrigation, navigation, fisheries, domestic use, and also domestic use like washing, cooking, drinking, etc. It also helps to generate hydroelectricity power. So because of the industrial uses and domestic uses, the water is also getting polluted, especially that Ganga river. So Ganga can assimilate pollution loads within 20 km by itself cleansing capacity. So due to increasing urbanization and industrialization. So many plans have also launched by the government to control river pollution. That is National River Conservation Plan, NRCP. National River Conservation Plan. The activities of Ganga Action Plan. With the Ganga Action Plan initiated in 1985 were declared closed on 31st March 2000. Again it emerged with the NRCP. Under this action plan, pollution reduction works are being taken up to 57 towns. So the steps taken to control the pollution activities, and many schemes have also started. So the very important in this chapter are perennial rivers and Himalayan rivers. Himalayan rivers, all the three rivers are very important, and also in peninsular river also. In peninsular rivers, Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri are very important. And sometimes the differences between peninsular and Himalayan rivers will be asked. So you have to write the differences, where it starts and where it originates. Likewise, you have to write. These are the important concept in this chapter, and also importance of lakes, role of rivers, river pollutions are important in this chapter. Thank you, children.